the St. Kitts Sea Turtle Monitoring Network, SKSTMN for short. I don't know why that's short, but I'll say that way. SKSTMN for short is a community-based nonprofit organization which monitors nesting sea turtle populations and acts as an advocate for the strengthening of sea turtle protection laws. Today, Dr. Kimberly Stewart and Nickail Sutton join us to tell us more about this organization. Welcome to Good Morning SKN.
Good morning. Welcome.
Good morning.
All right, so tell us about the organization.
Well, we were founded in 2003. We work in collaboration with the Department of Marine Resources and many other stakeholders, and we monitor nesting and foraging sea turtles. And we also have a significant conservation education component, so that includes things like sea turtle camp annually, and working with businesses to have them sea turtle friendly and things like that.
Sea turtle camp. Oh, that sounds really interesting. Yes.
It's a lot of fun.
A lot. Oh my God. So Nickail, you care to elaborate on the camp?
So sea turtle camp is something that we keep annually. We have two age categories, which are junior and senior conservationists. So week one, we usually do our junior conservationists. So those persons who've never been to camp before. So they're usually between the ages of 9 and 12. And then week two is 12 to 16. And so week two is more hands-on and more field-based. And so we try to get them out to do morning patrols and nest excavations and try to get them into things that we're doing at the St. Kitts Sea Turtle Monitoring Network.
Sounds like quite an education and a lot of fun.
It is.
So we had the pleasure of speaking with Mr. Taylor, the Disney Conservation Award hero. How was he nominated?
Well, that process was interesting. Disney gives away conservation grants, and you apply for them. And if you have received a grant, then you are able to nominate potentially for heroes. And the wider Caribbean Sea Turtle Conservation Network, which is the network that covers the entire region, actually had the opportunity to nominate for Disney Conservation Heroes. So we were asked individually as countries to nominate someone we felt was worthy of that. So we went through the nomination process last year for Theo. It went up to Widecast. They made the decision to push up for Disney, and then he won through the Disney nominations. And there are only 15 heroes annually worldwide. So it was a very big deal.
Nice. And how did the St. Kitts Sea Turtles got Mr. Taylor involved?
Theo and I met in 2006. He was still a fisher at that time. And I was just starting back on faculty with sea turtle research projects, and I asked Theo if he would be willing to allow me to start coming out when he was harvesting and I could get information on the sea turtles, because there is a lot of information to gain. Some of those that are taken in the harvest are tagged. They may have come as far away as Nicaragua, Florida, places like that. And it's very important that we get that data in any way that we can, so we're making those animals as valuable as possible. So I used to meet him between 4 and 6 a.m. And his group down in Pump Bay, and we would go through that process. And after working together for a while, I said, would you be interested in maybe helping us out with some conservation projects? And the first project we started on was in 2010, and we got 2 satellite transmitters to place on sea turtles so we could track where they were going. And I asked Theo if he would be interested in helping lead that program. And a big component of that was going into the schools to discuss sea turtle conservation. And he was on board. We went out to White House and captured our first turtle, put a transmitter on it. Theo tagged it. And he called me a couple weeks later and said, I need you to meet me at Newton Ground Primary this morning to speak to the principal about setting up a meeting. And I said, okay. So I show up. I didn't realize we were going to talk to the entire assembly. And I will never forget, Theo said, I'm going to start with a word of prayer, and then we're going to teach about turtles. And the first thing he said was, did you know that a sea turtle can carry a message around the world on its back? And he had gotten so motivated by that satellite program. And ever since then, we've been working together for patrols and camp and everything else. And he's made a huge difference in a number of areas of our program.
Well, that's good to know. We had the pleasure of meeting him, and he's such a humble person, and it was great to see 15, you say, worldwide, receiving that award annually.
Yes.
So that is a very big deal indeed.
Yes, absolutely.
All right, so as you spoke of the turtles coming as far away as Nicaragua and I forgot the other place that you said, but I presume very far, Florida. Yes, that's correct. How many sea turtle species do you figure that we have coming through our waters, if you can? And are there any indigenous St. Kitts and Nevis?
We have 3 nesting species of sea turtles here. Do you care to name them?
So we have nesting species on the island. We have the hawksbill, the leatherback, and the green. And we've starting to see loggerheads in our waters lately. We just released 2 loggerheads last year, actually, and we had satellite transmissions on them. So we were tracking them. So one is off the coast of Florida, and the next one is off the coast of Africa.
He's gone far, or
Yes.
she's gone
So
far.
way to get around the world.
They do, and our leatherbacks, which is the season we're in right now, they start nesting around February and they finish up around July. We've had those go as far as Nova Scotia, and then they come back to us every 2, 5 years, 7 years to nest, primarily Keys and North Friars. So they're amazing animals, and some of them we've been seeing for 14 years or more. So they kind of become like friends almost. You track them and you worry about them and everything else.
This monitoring sounds like fun. I had the opportunity to watch them hatch at Turtle Beach on one of the Friday night buffet. I just saw everybody moved away from dancing and the music, and they were just coming out the hole like ants. And the more they picked them up in the buckets and try to carry them to the sea, the baby turtles kept coming back towards the light. They turned off the light and they were still coming back. Eventually, I saw someone came, I guess it's from your organization, with a red cooler. So why the red cooler? Why do you put them in the red cooler?
Sea turtles are incredibly disoriented by white light. So when you work with us at night, you'll see we wear red,
Red, yeah.
because they're less sensitive. And so if we need to collect turtles that have been disoriented like that, we usually will move them to an entirely different beach, because they will see the light still from other areas that are open, and they'll keep coming back. So we put them in a cooler. It simulates the nest environment to a certain extent. It's
Okay.
dark, it's quiet,
Okay.
not stressful, and we transport them over to somewhere else that's safer.
Okay, so I understand the cooler mechanism now. Because some of the locals even put them in buckets with water to take them down, but those babies were coming back.
That's one of the challenges with turtles. When you place them in water, they'll just keep swimming. They go into this swimming frenzy. So you also want to put them in a cooler on damp sand so that they relax and they're not using all their energy, because they only have enough for about 3 days with their little yolk sac to make it out to the Sargasso area and start floating and feeding. So we want to help them save as much energy as possible.
So I've been a part of this organization from the get-go. So I started going to Sea Turtle Camp very early, because usually we start at 9. However, I went to Sea Turtle Camp at 8, and I've been going ever since. And then I've just made my way into becoming a member of the St. Kitts Sea Turtle Monitoring Network. So it's about roughly 13, 14 years now.
You mentioned the turtles are important to the ecosystem. Can you elaborate on that?
So turtles are what we consider our grass cutters. So they help maintain the seagrass beds, and they help to what we say, what's that term?
Keystone predators?
Yes, keystone predators.
Okay.
And so they usually maintain that balance. In terms of leatherbacks, specifically, they feed on jellyfish. And so they help to control the jellyfish population, which then is able to get our fish going, and so the jellyfish doesn't kill out the fish
Everybody,
species. Yes.
Okay, nice.
Dr. Stewart, when you hear Nickail say that the camp motivated him, how does that make you feel?
It makes me feel really good. I'm so proud of this young man. Yes, from age 8 upward. His birthday was yesterday. We were just looking at old pictures of him excavating nests on North Friars. It's an amazing effort we put together. I mean, it takes around 15 or 20 volunteers every year to do it. And it makes us feel really good to know that children enjoy it. We try to keep it dynamic, and I really hope we have future conservationists coming out, which we do, and veterinarians and biologists, and it's a good feeling for sure.
It's great.
So can you tell us what is involved in monitoring the turtle?
Sure. We have a number of different programs. So For night patrols, we work from 8 p.m. to 4 a.m. It's the vampire shift. It's for the strong, right? So we patrol the beach every 30 minutes, and each time a turtle comes in, we will tag them, draw blood from them, measure them, etc. We also have an in-water capture program, so once a week we go out and we capture those juveniles offshore and bring them in, and the same process happens. We run morning patrols as well on all of the beaches to check for sea turtle nests. Theo is a very strong player in that. From July through October, December, he runs all of the morning patrols on the peninsula. Okay. So there are a lot of different things. We also have rehab. If we have turtles presenting with injuries, we just released one this past weekend that we'd had for 6 months. They'll come in, they'll be treated, we change tanks, they're fed every day. It's a lot of work, but it's a labor of love because they all are either critically endangered or endangered, so it's important that we make sure we capture every nest and mark every animal and protect them as much as we can so that future generations can see them.
Good stuff. Do they ever fight when you try to hold them to take their stuff?
Nickail's Nickail and I had the joy of working with Mr. Pemberton on Nevis this past season at night with his hawksbill sea turtles. We typically have leatherbacks that are about 1,500 pounds and they're slow and laid back, and hawksbills are about 200 pounds and they're pretty feisty.
They're feisty.
So when we were having to restrain them, sometimes they do protest a little bit, but we do everything very quickly, and we have the red lights on. We don't stress them out, but they definitely see us as predators, so they do want to get away. Yeah. But they're not aggressive animals. It's more of, I just want to get away from you type of thing.
I can see Nickail. It's like you have a story to share.
That was his first nesting turtle experience as well. I think we should have started him on a leatherback. We were actually having to pull the hawksbills up and restrain them on tires because, they're very strong and they can pull forward. So Nickail had to do a lot of that lifting.
Yeah, it was tough.
It was tough.
It was my first time, and that turtle was strong. Wow. Very strong.
Wow.
Well, it's good to see that you didn't have any scars because of it. At least not physical.
No, we had a wonderful guide. Mr. Pemberton is amazing with hawksbill, so we learned a lot. It was fun.
Because the hawksbill is native to Antigua, and where I once lived in Antigua, along the shoreline where they normally come up, all the lights are red. So that's where I got the observation from. Why the lights are red? Oh, the turtles come up here to nest.
That's a great initiative. Skillick actually changed the lighting and keys for the leatherbacks as well. You'll find it's an amber color.
Yeah, yellowish. Yeah, I saw that.
Nice.
Wow.
So in terms of the mission, conservation and education, do you think that your organization is as effective in educating, say, locals as to why turtles are so important?
I think we're effective. I think public education is always evolving, and you always have to find a new way to capture people, especially with social media, the social media age. So we do everything we can. We have a Facebook page, we have a sea turtle hotline, so you can call 24/7 to report sea turtles. So for example, the sea turtle that was released on Sunday was a turtle that was captured at Old Road. Someone was fishing on the pier and they accidentally hooked her, and when they pulled her in they realized she had huge tumors, that's where the hook was, so they called the hotline, and then we brought the animal in, treated it, and they were there to release it on Sunday, Nickail and Kevin, so it was very cool. We do a lot of work in the community, whether it be interviews or camp or working with businesses, but we can always get better. There's always more to be done.
That's good.
That's why we have the younger ones coming on board.
I was just gonna ask Nickail, what advice would he give to young interested persons concerning the sea turtle monitoring?
What advice I would give to young persons? So I would tell them to, when they see us, to ask us a question. If they have anything to share with us, don't be afraid, because we won't bite you.
Don't fight you.
And if we don't have answers to your questions, we will definitely find an answer. So don't be afraid. You could call us, you could message us on Facebook, you could send us an email at skturtles@gmail.com, or feel free to call us at 764-6664, and someone will answer the phone, or someone will answer your message, and we will gladly find you an answer.
All right, so that's good to know. Volunteer opportunities?
Absolutely. We're walking these beaches all the time. So if anyone is interested in doing that, we do take individuals on board for patrolling. Camp is the last 2 weeks of July every year.
Okay.
So we always need all hands on board for that. And we love to have volunteers come out. Someone has to answer the sea turtle hotline number. So if anyone's interested in that. And we're completely capable of training you in the field. I call it baptism by fire. You don't have to be completely skilled or have any information about sea turtles previously. That's one of the fun things is having people come in, train them, and get them going in the areas they're interested in the most. Yeah.
You mentioned the sea turtle hotline. So say I'm out at the beach at 2 o'clock, we're camping, and we see a turtle in distress, or can we call you at 2 a.m. in the morning?
Absolutely.
Yes.
Okay.
We will take calls any time of the day or night.
All right, so give us that number again, please.
So that number again is 764-6664.
And we do have WhatsApp on there as well. So
Yes.
even if you just want to send us a WhatsApp, we'll respond.
Technology
Yes.
ready.
I've even entertained questions from slumber parties at 9 p.m. on sea turtles. I mean, we will take any calls necessary and we will respond because it is critical that you get out and immediately respond if turtles are in danger. So.
Yeah, because they came running with the coolest, man. Because I guess they called, they realized, nope, we can't help them. We turn off the lights, the turtle's still trickling back. So that was good to see them show up as quickly as they did and assisted the baby turtles. So now I know about the cooler and I know how to deal with turtles should I see them hatching on the beach.
Yes.
Absolutely.
And what number to call as well.
Of course.
Some of the faces behind the number 2.